All right, this learning target is 6.4. It is on factoring polynomials using a variety of factoring methods. More importantly, we're going to go over the new factoring methods, which are sum and difference of two cubes. So you're going to be given these two formulas, which are over here, these possible hints. The first one is the sum of cubes. That's that formula. Then this one is the difference of cubes. So we're going to use that to help us factor these binomials. Now the hardest part, I think, with this learning target is figuring out what is A and what is B. Once we know what A and B are, then we can just plug it into our formula over here on the left, right. Okay. So it's a 125 plus z to the third. Let's see if those are both perfect cubes. How you do that is you could check and figure out what is the cubed root. What is the cubed root of 125? Well, if you type that in your calculator, you could go like the cubed root of 125. You could go 125 to the 1/3 power. You are going to get 5. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So that's going to represent my A value. Then let's figure out what's the cubed root of our second term, z to the third power. Well, they're opposite, they're inverses of each other, so it's just going to leave us with z. So that's going to be our B value. Okay, now that we figured out what my A and B value are, we can use that with the sum of cubes. We're using that one because it's a sum, it's a addition sign there. So then we take that and we plug it in. A plus B will be 5 plus z, followed by a squared, which is 5 squared, minus ab, so minus 5 times z, plus b squared, which is z squared. Let's just simplify that problem. We get the factored form to be 5 plus z, 25 minus 5z plus z squared. And then that is the factored form. We can't factor any further, so then that's it. Okay, let's try one with the difference of cubes. That's like this one. We can't take out a GCF or anything, so let's try to take the cubed root of our first term, 8y to the third. Well, the cubed root of 8 is going to be 2, and the cubed root of y to the third is just y. So that's going to be our A value. And then let's look at the cubed root of 27. Cubed root of 27 is going to equal 3, because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. All right, and then we're also going to use the difference of cubes because of this subtraction sign. So let's plug in what we know. We know A is 2y. We know B is 3, so it's going to be 2y minus 3. And then it's A squared, so it will be parenthesis 2y squared plus AB, so plus 2y times 3, plus B squared, which is 3 squared. Now we're almost done. We just need to simplify. So we rewrite 2y minus 3, but let's simplify 2y squared. Make sure that you square both terms. So it's 2 squared and y squared. We get 4y squared plus multiply these terms. We get 6y plus 9. We can't factor that trinomial any further, so then that's going to be our final answer. Okay, I do want to go over like number 20 because we need to take out a GCF first. Take a look at these two terms. Always start out, can I factor out a greatest common factor with any factoring problem? So if you notice, they both have a 5t in common. So I'm going to take that out. I'm going to divide both terms by a 5t. We end up getting t to the third plus 8. All right. Now let's just focus on that resulting binomial, t to the third plus 8. That's going to end up being a sum of cubes formula. So we're going to take the cubed root of t to the third, and we get t. And then we're going to take the cubed root of 8, we get 2. So then we can plug it into the formula. Make sure though we include our GCF first. Then we use the sum of cubes. So it will be t plus 2 times t squared minus 2t plus 2 squared, or 4. Then that's our final answer. I will go over 21 real quick just because I want you to see the cubed root of s to the 6th. The cubed root of s to the 6th power, think of it like s to the 6th divided by 3. Well, you're just going to divide it. You're going to get s squared to be your a value. And your b value will be the cubed root of 1, which is 1. So then we'll plug it in the formula. Use difference of cubes. S squared minus 1. S squared plus s squared plus 1 squared. We can actually simplify. One thing, we could factor that to be s plus 1, s minus 1, oops, s minus 1, and then we get s to the 4th plus s squared plus 1. That was a tricky one. Okay. The next few methods, we've actually already done those. I'm just going to give you the solution, and then I'm just going to explain it really quick. So if you need more practice with that, look at Unit 4, factoring methods. That will definitely help. All right, so I finished the solutions real quick. 22, it's 4 terms. So what I would do is practice, do factoring by grouping. You put parentheses around the first 2 and the last 2, and take out your GCF out of each. The GCF in this one will be x squared. We rewrite the leftover, x plus 3. The GCF in this one, we want it to be a positive x plus 3, so let's take out a negative 20. When you divide out a negative 20, you're left with an x plus 3. Those are the same, so that's your binomial GCF. So we're going to take that out and rewrite it over here, x plus 3. Then the leftover will be x squared minus 20 in the leftover factor. We can't factor that any further. It's not a difference of 2 squares. So then this is going to be our final answer. That's the factored form. With 23, here we have our trinomial. It's a 6th degree trinomial, so we don't really know if we can't really like factor the trinomial unless I want you to try to take out a GCF first. So the greatest common factor will be a 2x to the 4th. When you divide it out, we're left with this trinomial right here. Well, we factored those type of trinomials before, so what you do is you multiply your first and your last term. You get 36x squared. And then you think of 2 numbers that multiply to get 36 and add to get your middle term, a negative 15. Well, that will be a negative 3 and a negative 12. That adds up to be negative 15. So then those are going to go in here in our box. So we create the box method. First term goes here, last term goes there, and then we figure out what goes on the outside of the box. And it will be a 2x minus 3 and an x minus 6. Make sure in your answer that you rewrite the GCF 2x to the 4th, then you write your factor 2x minus 3 and then x minus 6, and then that's your final answer. So again, if you do need more support, take a look at Unit 4, and that's the factoring methods. So you'll definitely want to take a look at all the factoring methods from Unit 4 videos if you're stuck.